Good morning, friends. Thank you for joining here at Journey Home Meditation for the Morning Sit. And I am sitting. I'm happy to be here sitting with each of you. Oh, well. What do we have going on in our mind today? You know, it's funny how much time I spend in my mind. And sometimes it can feel like we spend all of our time there. It's as if in some ways we've created this two different world reality. Many of us spend a good part of our days delicately balancing between this mental world and this material world. And then occasionally we sprinkle in a little bit of set aside time for what we call the spiritual world. Right. And it's become so codified, like we have really doubled down on the reality that we want to believe is really happening in the thought world. And so many of us think we can gather just the right information, and then once that information fits all these spaces, right, ticks all these boxes, pulls all these levers, whatever the information is, then we know that this is what's right. This is what's right in the world. And even still, our bodies breathe. And even still, the waters flow in the streams and rivers to the sea, and things continue. Before we were absolutely sure that we were right, the last time that we were absolutely sure we were right, until the next time when we're absolutely sure we are right. We have all of these worlds existing where we are constantly seeking out affirmation of our rightness. And we've set up entire institutions dedicated specifically to making sure that we can find the information we need to find to validate what we believe about the world. And then once we find it, we're stuck. That's it. This is what I know. This is the absolute and utter truth about the world now. Now what I know is absolutely true. And if you don't know that, you're an idiot. And, I used to be a lot like you. and all of these things that we say when we're getting our part. We're getting our part. We're really, the more lines that we can accrue, the bigger that part is, right? Um, so we craft our lives around this thought world and how we can prop up everything around us to point back to that our thoughts are the right ones. And I think we all do this. I don't think that there's much of an escape from it. We are thinking beings, and a large part of our energy in our body goes towards thought. It goes towards the functions of thought in the mind. And there's some people who dedicate their entire practice to escaping thought, completely abandoning thought. That thought is somehow this useless appendage that we have acquired as the human species that's needs to be abandoned. This is aligned with a lot of spiritual practices, and the same can be said for the material world and physical sensation. There are entire spiritual practices dedicated to abandoning completely the material world. And it's interesting that we find ourselves in this predicament where we have created these different realities: the thought reality, the material reality, the spiritual reality. Then you've got the emotional reality and the reality of memory, right? So there's the historical reality. Then there's the future reality. There's all these different ways that we want to justify the ways in which we prepare ourselves. And we're preparing ourselves always for this thing. And we make use of the past, to identify with who we are. Well, the reason that I'm going to do it like this is because I was this, right? Uh, you see, the reason that I have all of these medical supplies is I was once a search and rescue, so I was a Boy Scout, and I'm prepared. And it's as if we are constantly in this state of propping up these ways in which our thought identifies who we are. You know, I'm gonna wear a certain sweater that's gonna make me look a little softer. Maybe I'll get some glasses that match. Uh, Maybe I'll put some flower garlands on my walls and some nice paintings of the Buddha, and then I'll be a spiritually centered person. And there's a lot of truth to this, in that the way that we decorate ourselves and the way that we decorate our world around us does influence the way that we see the world, actually see the world, physically see the world, which influences the way we think about the world. But it gets real tricky, and there becomes a place of stuckness when we have this unlimited ability to design the way our world looks, the way we think about our world, and the information we get that makes us decide what we believe about the world. These are what some people have called methods. We have these methods, these ways that we pattern ourselves, these behaviors and these actions, so that we can craft this well designed place and from which to view the world. It's like I like to go up to this place called Onion Mountain Fire Lookout. It's an old fire lookout that's gone into disuse over the years. It's not far from here, maybe an hour's drive to get to the base of it, and then you have to walk up. And it's a day long thing, and I'll sometimes go for a couple of days. I've gone up, and you sneak up into the fire lookout and sleep there. It's with the rats and the disposed of packaging from potato chips left by teenagers up there making out or whatever it is that teenagers do. And you get this view. You get this view of the whole valley, right? I live in Southern Oregon in the Illinois River Valley. And from that viewpoint, you can see the Illinois River Valley and the Rogue River Valley. You got this whole view, this 360-degree view. And so you spend all day and you pack your stuff, right? You put together the right foods that are going to be appropriate for the trip, and you make sure that your cell phone's charged, and you make sure to tell a couple people where you're going to be just in case something happens, and you gas up the car and check the tires. You do all the preparations, right? You get all these preparations. And then you get up there and you work through traffic and you find a good spot to park and you get everything ready to go and you set out. And that's a beautiful walk, but you're not really focusing on the walk as much because you know where you're going. So you don't really take time to see everything on the way up to the view. You're just focused on getting to that view. And you get up there and you look and you see everything, so much of everything that you don't really see anything. And that's what's so beautiful about it. Right? From this perspective, all of it seems a part of something larger than it is as itself. Right? Something like a puzzle piece fitting into a greater puzzle or a pixel on the screen. Everything is just these little small. So maybe over there, way back there is the road that brought me in, and way back beyond that is the store I stopped at. And at night, maybe you can see the lights from the town that I drove through to get there. But you go past all of it, and all of it seems so important at the time, right? I'm in a car, I'm in a fueling station, I'm getting the right snacks. Are these organic? Are these not organic? Are these GMO? Who does this company support killing today? Am I supporting the right people? Am I boycotting the wrong people? What am I doing here? All of it, all these steps along the way, and then you kind of breeze past all of it just to get to that end point where you look out and you can't really make anything out. And then you feel at peace. It's this amazing paradox how much work and effort we put into all of these little details only to get up to the top and just see the broad brushstrokes and just think, wow, look at all of that beauty. Look at all of that beauty. But when we're in it, it's all about preparing. And I just think about that. Like, how much time do I spend in my thoughts wishing something were different than it is, wishing I were different than I was, insisting that something is not right. Then I breeze past all of the flowers and I breeze past all of the temporary little springs that form in the rains that feed the creeks and just create this beautiful, magical, and extremely temporary bit of theater. right? Just so I can get up to a place in my spiritual practice where I don't see any of it anymore. And the whole time, all that information that I gathered that pointed me just in one singular direction, right? It was just a bit of information. It was just a splash of color on this huge canvas of existence. And then even so, am I part of the painting, or am I the canvas the painting is on? Where does this leave us? And so if your spiritual practice is somehow separated from your thought practice and your physical engagement with the world, then it's going to be this goal that we strive to achieve. And in doing so, we're going to be bypassing a lot of things. We're going to be skipping over a lot of parts, and we're going to be really functioning to prepare ourselves as this one thing. Right? And we're going to miss out on the possibilities. Because you can find information to weaponize your thoughts in any direction you'd like. One only has to flip through the radio to hear the pundits speaking from all of these different well informed places, trying to shape and craft and finally hone you into a weapon, a sword of their design. But if we can remember who we truly are, beyond that thought pattern, beyond that that physical form, beyond even the spiritual practices, beyond even those, that we are a part of that massive nothingness, you know, that peaceful place where there is no definition. You just look out and you see all of the wonderful colors, textures. Everything is just moving in this sort of universal delight. And when we can get beyond the thought form, when we can get beyond the obsession with either attaching to the material world or rejecting the material world, when we can get beyond even the spiritual practices that we think are just the right ones. Right? Well, we don't do it like that. I don't do it like that. That's not right. That's not right. They don't pray right. They're not praying right. They're not saying God's name right. Don't they know God is this one thing? Of all the possibilities of all of existence and everything that is, there is only this one very narrow pronunciation for the name of God. And I happen to know it. So, la di da. And I don't know where that's really going. I don't know if this line of thought's going to take us anywhere pleasurable, except for to say, when you find yourself getting stuck in seeking out just the right information to inform just the right identity of self, just remember that it's all just steps on the path towards that space of seeing everything as nothing. So don't get stuck. Laugh at it, enjoy it, have fun with the information. You know, nobody's going to the theater and then talking about how, well, none of that's real, so we can't enjoy that. I would enjoy it if it were real, but it's not real, so I can't enjoy it. No, this is the purpose. This is the purpose. All of the theater that's going on around us all of the time, all of the dancing, all of the plays, all of the roles that we take on, and all of the roles that we reject, and all of the roles we are rejected from, and all of the scripts and the rehearsals and everything that we do, right? It's there and it's meant to be enjoyed. Even when we see the rough plays, when we go and see Macbeth and we see the turmoil and the suffering and the pain and the violence, it's there for us to revel in its very real unrealness. So spend some time today, if you get a moment, reveling in the unrealness of who we think we are. It's quite fun. It's quite fun to take a step back and laugh at your performance. You look back and you think, wow, that was a big performance. That was my monologue. I was really convincing right there, wasn't I? Wow, amazing. And I'd like to thank my supporting cast. I'd like to give it up to Mom. Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a few moments together to maybe get into some practice of breath. It's this practice that's a very physical practice. It's a very thought based practice, and it's a very spiritual practice. All of these things come together to take us up to that lookout, right? Where we can look out and just see these tiny little impressions. And there I am, and there I am, and there you are, and there he is, and she is, and they are, and there it all is. Just these tiny little impressions. So, utilizing the body right now, let's find ourselves into a place of balance. If you're seated as I am, you can place your feet flat to the floor. The practice here today is to facilitate our breath to the best of our ability. So finding balance, that place of the least amount of stress or strain, that's going to help bring us into a relaxed state. Breathing in through the nose to the bottom of the belly is going to help restrict the breath and make us use the muscles that make up the diaphragm and help us to breathe. Breathing in and breathing out. Follow the sensation of the breath from the moment you begin to breathe in holding, feeling the breath move through the body as you begin to breathe out. Staying with the sensation. Allow the eyes to gently close if you can, or keep a soft focus with your eyes open if you prefer. But find that place where your internal dialogue starts to quiet down as you just watch this breath happen. And as you're breathing, just picture yourself looking out over all of it. Just everything is right out there. And pull back just enough to watch it dance. Feel as your mind relaxes and your body relaxes, and it just becomes easy for a moment. Let it just be easy, just for this moment. Just be easy. And bring that gentleness. Find how easy kindness comes when we are gentle. Watch how quickly connections are made when we are kind. And witness how you are a part of all of it when you are connected. There's nowhere to go. And there's nobody to be. What an opportunity. So thank you for being here today, right now. I'm glad we got to share a few moments together, and not have to hold ourselves up to be anything at all. Just breathing in, breathing out, and watching the show. Maybe I'll see you out there on the stage. And maybe we'll have our lines memorized. But whatever happens, I hope you play. I hope you play. Thanks for being here. If you are interested in reaching out, connecting about anything on this program, or suggesting a possible guest, or if you'd like to be a guest here at Journey Home Meditation for the Morning Sit, reach out to me at journeyhomemeditation@gmail.com. You can also see what we're up to throughout the day at www.journeyhome.care. CARE. Let us know what you're up to, how you're moving through this world in a way that lets us dance. Hariom.